This is the first, obviously, let me say, it's the first trash talk since the election. So this is an Alberta election edition of a little something we call Trash Talk. All right, this one from Rebecca, who says, I am so sick of listening to people wax on about how this election was the NDP's to lose, a missed shot on an open net. Pull your heads out of your asses. This is solely on the shoulders of the voters and non-voters of Alberta, the people who think this election was a choice between a bad option and a worse one. One party is steeped in hate and ignorance and ludicrous increases to cost of living and unethical actions, and the other is orange. This was Alberta voters missing a shot on an open net. This wasn't a loss for the NDP. This was a loss of common sense and decency for the province of Alberta. That from Rebecca. This from Brad Jesperson. Your praise of Danielle Smith's speech is really odd to me. Like it was literally boilerplate. I gave her credit for saying that she's going to learn from her mistakes yesterday. I don't know if I praised it, Brad, but I digress. He says it could have been worse. She's proven to lie. Like, let's see what she actually does. Like, I don't know, giving jobs to failed Edmonton candidates. They're calling it the Council of Losers she's going to consult with. That's bonkers. Brad says, this isn't good. He says, by the way, I'm shocked that every media outlet and every reporter is not in central Alberta right now, in Lacombe, Ponoka, asking people on the street why the hell they elected a person that literally called children pieces of shit. Something's wrong with society. This is the type of stuff that people used to resign over. Like Rick Bell even on your show saying, I didn't write about it. It didn't move the needle. Yeah, no shit. It didn't move the needle because you didn't write about it. Everybody glossed over it, made it normal. You know, Sally in her Facebook group hears people say stuff like that all the time, and nobody in the group says anything, right? If Rick Bell or others would have stood up and called it abhorrent and saying she should step down, then the normal reaction would have been that. But now we have thousands of people in Alberta thinking this is mainstream. Brad says, I bet you by October she's back in caucus and all is well, and it's fucking terrible. That from Brad. What about this from Sylvia, who says it hasn't taken long for Danielle Smith to show her ignorance of democracy with a desire to create a council of the defeated, a council of losers to advise about Edmonton issues. When you interview her next week, Ryan, maybe you could remind her that all these people were, not elected in Edmonton, and ask her how she thinks that democracy is supposed to work. We have duly elected MLAs, duly elected City of Edmonton councillors, and a mayor that we have chosen to represent us. How about she starts there? Sylvia says, by the way, great job on pre-election coverage. Thanks, friend. This one from Tanya, who says, hi there, moderate conservative Alberta. I see you out there. You voted conservative your whole life. You convinced yourself to do so again because even though Danielle Smith and Take Back Alberta scares the crap out of you, you told yourself that it would be okay. The moderate voices in the party and cabinet would keep things normal. Status quo, the way it has been for generations. It would all be okay. She will soon be gone. Tanya then, in all caps, says, pause for breath, wipes tears from eyes. My friends, you have been played. Welcome to Wild Rose, far-right Alberta. Your party is gone. You lost it. Even if Smith goes, her replacement will be even battier. We're going to get the government we voted for. And once the smoke and the mirrors from the campaign clear, they'll show themselves soon enough. So now is the time, says Tanya, to really stand up for what you believe in. Join us over in the My Vote Belongs to Me, Not a Party camp and shed the blue hue. See this government for what it is, not what you wish it to be. And we'll see you again in 2027. That from Tanya. And we wrap with one from Randy, who says, Ryan, I just listened to Real Talk podcast for the second time last night. I was tipped off on the link from Danielle Smith's website. I find it troubling that there is a continued attack on her for her views and past comments. He says, I'll keep this short. As the last email I sent you, you didn't even have the courtesy of sending a reply or an acknowledgement of the message I sent. I have found this very common from people who don't want to have a conversation about the issues. It's also common with people that get a lot of fucking emails, Randy. But thanks for taking the time to chime in. He says, why don't you do a show called Rachel Notley Two-Time Loser? I'll tune in for that one for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, Randy, yesterday we wondered what went wrong with the NDP, and you can find that episode on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. You can send us your trash talk to talk@ryanjesperson.com, proudly presented by our friends at Local Environmental Services. Erica Eiffel, Kristen Rayworth, great friends of Real Talk, and it's awesome, and I'm proud to be a friend of Bad and Bitchy. We're off tomorrow, friends. We'll see you again Monday. Charles Adler and Dr. Lisa Young on Danielle Smith's populist governance plan. We'll get into it, and we'll see you then.